Hello internet, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be taking apart a phone and showing you each part and how I clean it and put it back together. Now let's start the video. Before the video starts, I just want to say huge thanks to everyone for supporting me. Thank you for 10 subs. I know it's not a lot. It's nothing compared to what I have and what, a lot of people have. It's only 10 subscribers. On my other channel, I almost have 100. And I'm planning to get 1,000. Well, that's my goal. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it, but that's my achievement. In this video, I'm going to be taking apart the Moto Razr Droid Maxx. I'm sorry, it's really hard to pronounce this name. It's just complete whack. This phone was made back in the early 2010s, and that's when phones still didn't know what they were gonna be. This is about the same time the iPhone 5S and 5C came out, maybe about 2012, 2013. This phone is actually pretty decent at the time. It had a half decent camera, and actually I really like the vibration. This has really good haptic feedback. I really enjoy it. I hate that they have the lightning port or the charger on the side, but whatever. I didn't know how to take this phone apart. I actually searched up some YouTube videos, and you'll see me doing that later. But this is, a phone that I didn't know where to take apart because the back case wants to come out, but apparently you have to take it off with the front case. In fact, I took it apart. It was complete whack, but I didn't break anything. It was fine. At this point, I got the back plate off, and I started taking it, off. And then I realized there was a cable, but that's fine because it let me extend all the way out like a laptop, as shown. I was worried that the battery might have been expanded, so that's why I didn't, that's why I wanted to take it apart, so I didn't want to sell a phone that had the battery expand, because that's a fire hazard. I started cleaning a bit, and then I moved on to the screen. What I'm doing here is sliding the screen back and forward until it literally pops off. And this just amazed me. This is identical to what you use, or the strategy you use to take off the back glass off an iPhone 4 or 4S. And that was just magic. You didn't have to use any heat. It was just marvelous. I wish phones could do this these days, but, tech companies just want their money, so. After taking off the screen marvelously, and I just love the screen, it was really nice, and it didn't, it wasn't really thin, like those Apple displays, or especially the Samsung ones, because they will snap, like, in half. They're potato chips. I started to take apart the phone with the screws, and there wasn't too many screws, I would have to say about 8 screws on the whole motherboard, and actually 8 screws or 10 screws about the whole phone, because there weren't that many. You just had to unscrew a couple boards, and this phone actually is one of the Android phones that has a shield behind little parts. Like, right now I'm unscrewing the part for the camera, and for the headphone jack, the shield is actually one of the most important parts, because on the shield is the cable that runs to the board to connect the headphone jack. So the headphone jack just, that's where the headphone jack sits, and then the power goes through the shielding. Inside there were cables, and they weren't your standard plug off and plug on cables. They're more like the little ribbon cables you get in those iPod classics, where it's a little flap, and you open it, and then you can tug on the wire until it falls out. And the screws in there, they were all identical for the whole phone. Even the bottom 2 screws that I had to take off, they were all identical. But the ones that I had to use were basically like a bit bigger model of the little star screws that you get on the bottom of your iPhone, but they're a bit bigger. There were many of them, and like it was easy to keep organized. They were all the same, but I still kept them organized just to practice it. It's really good to practice certain things, even though like you got it. I would still recommend practicing it, because the more practice the better. I would say this phone is pretty easy to disassemble. I mean, at least if you're knowing what you're doing. I didn't use that many tools, and I didn't even need to use all of the things in my toolkit. I had some trouble getting off the board, but after watching the YouTube video a bit longer, I figured it out and everything came apart like butter. If I had to rate on how easy it is to take apart this phone, your average Joe could probably do it if he wanted to. I am not actually kidding, it's pretty simple, or maybe I'm too skilled. No matter the less, this was pretty easy, and I was just taking it apart to clean. I don't think I'm gonna put it back together in this video, but I did in real life, and right now it's sitting. It may or may not be working because I plugged in the battery before I plugged in anything else. So, joke's on me. But it honestly doesn't matter. I just did this so I can get practice just taking apart random things. And, like I told myself, I was like, hey, if this doesn't work, like it's too, like, no one's gonna buy this anyway, and I'm not, like, spending money on this. I'll probably sell it in a parts lot. So, yeah. Another thing I wanted to say, you gotta organize your tools. I said that you need to organize your screws for, practice, but you also gotta organize your tools. It's like, organization is key to success, or something else. I also wanted to ask you guys, do you guys really like this voiceover where I work and then in the background you want me to talk and I have music? Or do you guys want me to do this, do you guys want me to do it the opposite way where I, talk during I fix my phone? Because the other way I feel like it's boring, but here it feels like it's a one-on-one conversation. I'll probably have a poll in my Instagram that you can follow me. My thing is in the description. And, yeah. I also recommend one more thing. Stretch every, 5 to 10 minutes, because my back was was cracky, or just snapping back basically in half. And here I fast forward to the part where I'm about to take apart the motherboard. Now this opens up like a book, and the thumbnail that you saw, it's basically like a tri-fold, and that's when you put the cables in, then it opens like a tri-fold. So yeah, that's how it worked. At this point afterwards, I am going to get some isopropyl alcohol. The one I have is 91% alcohol and 9% water. You want to get the 100% alcohol, because then you can dunk your parts in it. That's how you normally clean phones that you find on the side of the road. The one I use, I clean it, but I be careful if you get in some really bad parts. The only reason I wouldn't recommend getting a little percentage of water is because water doesn't evaporate as fast as isopropyl alcohol. That's why when you get water damaged, the water sits inside of there and it corrodes. With isopropyl alcohol, it will evaporate and it wouldn't corrode. If you guys like this video, then make sure to like it. I am very sure you would probably will. This is something very new, and if you guys like it or you guys don't like it, leave it in the comments. I'd always check by. Yeah, I'd always like a sub or two, because I'm trying to grow this channel, and as much people as love this content, I'll make more of it. I don't post as much now because I have my other channel that I want to work on, and school is happening and a bunch of other things is happening. I just don't have the time to edit, and I have other things to work on. So if you guys have any suggestions what phones I should do, or how should I edit, or any of that stuff, leave it in the comments, leave it in my Instagram. I'll make sure to DM you back or comment back on you. As always, have a good day. In memory of 2020. Fuck off!